microphone, it's time to start the show. Like a quart of owls, the mystery is starting to grow. Let there be no debate, it's about to begin. Keen like Bruce Wayne, quick like Tim Drake, fierce like Damien. Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime-fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
The Bat Pod presents Gotham Currents, a podcast about current releases of Batman comics.
Welcome to this episode of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, John Koos.
Hey, Bill. As you can see, I'm in transition on my studio location. So this will be the last time we record here. So I have one prop, is my packed away famous Power Girl statue, but that's all I got right now.
Okay, we'll go with that. So we have our second episode live here on YouTube and Facebook. I just wanted to give a shout out real quick. My daughter Kara's supposed to be watching. So you're going to hear some good stuff tonight. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of Robin Lives, number 4. Detective Comics 1090. Nightwing 119 and Catwoman 69. We're all in on those last 3 books. So you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's head to the books. If you'd like to join the
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
So our first book tonight is Robin Lives, number 4.
Yeah, it is.
Your writer is J.M. DeMatteis, artist Rick Lenardi, colors Rico Renzi, letters Taylor Esposito, cover Lenardi, Renzi, and editors Katie Kubert and Michael McAllister. And we get a cover here with a evil-looking Robin in the background, Batman and the Joker are fighting, and a Robin on the ground. What did you think of this cover?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's very similar to the other books, very consistent. It looks like in this cover, unlike the one with Disco Nightwing on the cover, that people are pretty proportional. If we talked last time that Nightwing's leg is a little stubby, but it's and then you got this background thing of Jason looking kind of psychotic, kind of
evil.
So that's obviously a foreshadow, perhaps. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this issue, Joker and Jason, as Jokey, the boy lackey, attack Dr. Benjamin Stoner at Arkham Asylum, but the drug wears off as Jason refuses to kill. Batman and Nightwing investigate the Joker's old hideout and find an invitation attached to a dead bat. Then Bruce drugs Dick. While Bruce goes to face the Joker, Jason steals a gun and goes to the Batcave to change. Batman meets up with the Joker, who has found a way to control the Majani Island bats, whom he's infected with a psychoactive drug. The only way to stop him from releasing the bats on Gotham is to drink a non-lethal Joker toxin. Before Bruce can make a decision, the Joker is shot in the chest by Jason. Then Jason shoots him in the head with a clown saying, "At last," before he dies. Bruce forgives Jason, retires from being Batman, and continues therapy. Dick takes over as Batman. Bruce and Dr. Deb fall in love and get married. They help Jason get back on his feet. He goes to work at Arkham to help inmates there. The issue ends with Jason putting on a green wig and makeup and becomes the Joker. So,
did you see that? Did you see that coming?
No, I did not. I did not see it coming. It was I do have to say we jumped in on this series and we've enjoyed it for the most part. And we get this fourth part and I didn't know what was coming. Did you have an idea this was coming?
No, it's no way. No way. I mean, we already knew that he pulled the trigger, but we didn't know that obviously that he was going to end up being the Joker, the Batman would retire and all that stuff. I mean, we're already jumping to the big finale by talking about this part, but I don't know we should save it or not, but I had a little bit of a hard time with him becoming the Joker. I don't know if we want to park that for now and go back.
Well, yeah. Let's here at the beginning, the Joker and Jason as this Joker boy lackey or whatever you want to call him. He's gonna have him beat up or kill Benjamin Stoner.
Right.
And I think the point that Jason kind of wakes up is he gives him this bat, sort of like a crowbar.
Yeah.
To beat the heck out of him, and he sort of wakes up and he's like, I'm not a killer. What did you think of this particular scene?
No, this had my full attention. This was very, I don't know how to put it, but it was intense. Let's just put it that way. Super intense. And then the way that the ink is splattered on the page, I thought was a nice touch. It goes beyond the panels into the white parts around, of the border of the page, which created a sort of a more of a chaos sort of feel. Like the chaos is beyond the panels, which I thought was a cool touch, which I don't remember seeing before. Maybe I've seen it sometime with all the thousands of comics I've read, but I thought that was really cool. And and then the small panels of going back and forth between Jason and then Joker, I thought created a really neat sort of just back and forth kind of vibe. And so anyway, I really liked this whole thing. And then the next page is it brings down the temperature of this realization. And he even has his hand on his head, like realizing he's
what is he doing?
And then, I mean, even though it's super harsh, Joker quickly, gets mad and then just smacks him. And that felt so real that Joker would do that. I thought all of that stuff, everything in this book with the Joker really made you feel like almost nervous. That's for me. I mean,
yeah. There's one thing, after he kind of wakes up, the Joker's like, finish him. What are you doing? Just standing there. And he takes him out. And I thought, he has a perfect opportunity there to kill him. But the Joker has always been about Batman. And even him, like, killing or almost killing in this version Robin in Death in the Family, he doesn't do it here. He's like, you're not even worth my time. I'm got grown-up business with your daddy.
Yeah, totally. This page, I'm glad you focused on it because he actually says it. He's like, it's time to finish what he started back in Ethiopia, where he beat him with a crowbar, blew up the place, left him for dead, kind of a thing. And then he just goes, you're not worth it. And that's almost a bigger dig than killing Jason is for the Joker of all people, who's a homicidal maniac, to just walk away from Jason, that he's not even worth killing.
Right.
That was super poignant. And he calls him, you're just a bad joke. And then he walks off. And I thought that was super powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what does that do to, of all the things that's been done to Jason here, it's like, what does that do to his psyche here? It's like, you're not even worth my time,
Yeah, and I kill people at random, and you're not worth it. That was brilliant, brilliant writing. I thought really cool, definitely.
Yeah, and then we get some Batman and Nightwing here, and I don't know if I buy, the next part where Batman feels like this is going to be his final confrontation with the Joker. That him and the Joker are going to die battling out, and he doesn't want Dick involved, and he kind of drugs him here. But I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's funny. We didn't even talk about this book like in the green room or offline.
No, not at all.
I kind of felt like this was a little rushed, little too easy of a like. And he drugs him. Like he drugs Nightwing, which I found strange. But nevertheless, I think you're right. Of all the times that have preceded this, yes, he did try to kill Jason. He didn't succeed in this continuity. So why is this the final confrontation versus all the others where he almost poisoned the entire reservoir or whatever? Like, I don't know.
That's my thing. I don't know why that this would be the final confrontation, because he did something.
It's almost like
playing with Jason again, or
what struck me as interesting. This is a what if story, right? Sort of like what if, and Jason had lived, but in the post crisis continuity when this came out, Jason actually died as a result of the Joker's actions, and Batman didn't go off the handle and try to and pronounce to Nightwing or anybody else that this is going to be my final thing with the Joker. I mean, that would make more sense if Batman puts a kid in danger. As a result of that, Joker kills him. That might push Jason over the edge more in the regular continuity than this. The sort of almost seems unaligned in a weird way.
Yeah, it is
interesting.
It's interesting, yeah. Yeah. And this meetup where they finally meet up and the Joker's going to sick these bats on Gotham unless Batman drinks this potion. And you'll be cuckoo as I am, according to the Joker.
Right.
And you get a little intervene, because you see the Joker, in every issue, you still the Joker getting killed from a different aspect. And we knew it was Jason after last issue, but here he shoots him in the chest. It doesn't kill him.
Right.
And then we have this scene where the Joker is just belittling him.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I would have aimed for the head. You didn't because you're too weak, too gutless. And he's just like egging him on. And then finally we get that shot. Joker gets nailed in the head. And that's the end for the Joker, him saying at last. I don't know.
Well, I actually thought that was I liked that panel a lot, in that I guess he's saying that, he's being this homicidal maniac, psychotic person has been torture for him. And, because the way I read this is that because Batman has the no killing mantra, Joker always he's saying that Joker would have wished that Batman had done this years earlier, and now he's at peace. The the craziness in his head is now going to stop. I liked it, and it with the tear kind of humanizes the Joker a little bit. I thought it was actually a really cool page. No words other than Batman yelling no, and then you got the blam, and then you got of the gunshot, and then you got just a subtle "at last." I thought this was really powerful, actually. Now, but I know I have a quibble though. Like,
okay,
maybe it's a little quibble. Like, where is this? Is this in just a random cavern that has these bats?
I assume it's a cave that has these particular kind of bats.
Yeah, I guess am I reading too much into it? I'm wondering where Jason got this gun. But
well, it said he stopped off at a gun store in Gotham, so I don't know.
Oh, you're saying
it's not like he bought it. I think he stole it. Because his whole goal was to take out the Joker. Because he's in his head now.
I love this one panel that and it's very Batman, where he says that he had a dozen plans to stop him. Like, why did you shoot him? Like, when I read that, I was thinking that makes perfect sense. Being one of the smartest people in the DC universe, that Batman was already, even though he was faced with this bat plague thing and everything else, that he was going to figure this out, and he was working on it real time. And I thought for me, that resonated, that Batman, because Batman always does figure it out.
Yes.
Right?
And this time, he didn't figure it out, and...
Yeah.
But...
Go ahead.
But, the aftermath of this is, we have Dick and Bruce here kind of comforting Jason.
Sure.
Because he's like, don't pretend to be kind. You both hate me now. You hate me. I'd hate me too after what I've done. And they're like, hate? Never. We both love you, and we always will, which was kind of a cool scene.
I agree. I liked it.
Yeah.
And it was during the day, or dawn. I think it was called dawn, which has another element to it. But then what happens after that? Batman hangs up the suit. I guess he falls in love or whatever with this therapist woman, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on the therapy thing, but like in some ways, like if this didn't have any of that stuff, I might have liked the whole story a little better. I mean, I thought this Dr. Dev element, when I look back on the comic, I go, how much did that really add to the story? And unless it's the only purpose it served was to get Bruce on the couch and deal with his issues. I found the narration kind of tedious at times, and I didn't like her that much.
Yeah, there wasn't anything about her that stood out, really. I mean, I'm not saying that I disliked her, but there wasn't anything that stood out. But I guess it makes a little bit more sense, that she's narrating this. And we'll question at one point, why is she narrating this whole thing? And she knows so much. Well, it makes sense that, they got married. But does this feel here at the end? Does it feel like the end of the movie? And you have little excerpts of where everybody is after the whole story took place. Batman's retired. They get married. He continues going to counseling. Yep. Dick takes over as Batman, and then we get the final scene there.
Yeah. What'd you think of that Batman? That Dick Grayson Batman costume?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. It's sort of like the Nightwing costume merged with a Batman costume.
Yeah.
It's okay. It would have to grow on me a little bit. I mean, we only see it in, 2 panels?
Yeah.
Two panels there. So I thought it was okay. What did you think?
Like Earth 10 Batman. I don't know. It was whatever. It was fine. The color scheme with the, I guess that's the medium blue on the light blue or whatever.
I guess
it's all right, whatever. But and then, but okay, let's not focus too much. We have a lot to cover today on Dr. Dev stuff. I don't know. whatever. But this ending with Jason putting on the Joker wig, putting on the makeup, putting on the Joker suit, basically.
Yeah.
Joker. I couldn't help but think of Flashpoint a little bit. That this has kind of been done before with, if you remember, in the Flashpoint omnibus in the series, whatever, there was a side book of focused, I think it was 3 issues, focused on the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman. And in that story, Martha Wayne is the Joker.
Right.
And so I couldn't get that out of my head that this has kind of been done before in a different way. And it left me, honestly, him becoming the Joker kind of made me feel flat, because I don't feel like they showed us that Jason has taken a full-born journey to psychosis. It was a little abrupt for me.
You know what it feels like? It feels like one of those 80s horror movies. You know, you get to the end and you have this scene at the end or in the credits where, you know, the main character or whatever goes a little crazy or is going to start killing people. That's what it felt like to me. It's like, oh man, really? Really? Is that how it's going to end? But I guess to a certain extent, it makes a little bit of sense because all this trauma he's been through, you know, he goes to counseling. He looks fine to everybody, but he really isn't fine. And it makes me think that this version, this Robin Lives version, that Jason was meant to die. He was meant to die and come back 5 years later and become the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And this version of Jason wasn't meant to be, but...
Yeah. All in all, I was entertained. I'll leave it on a positive note. I maybe want to be entertained more, but I was entertained. I was entertained.
I agree.
That's where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. So.
All right. So we're back to now. We're going to go into some current continuity.
The all-in.
Pretty excited about this. So I was excited just knowing who's going to be writing Detective. So let's get into this. I don't know if you got the cover you want to flash up or not, but we got Detective 1090. And we got, this is why I was excited, because Tom Taylor's writing it. And, I just need to wax poetic about him, polish his apple, whatever. I love the Nightwing run. I've loved some of his other stuff, going back to Injustice. I just think he's really a great DC writer. So he's the writer, artist Mike Janin, letters Wes Abbott. So our story opens up 3 weeks in the future with Batman standing over a bloodied man tied to a chair. We learn that someone has gifted this to Batman, someone with very sharp claws. Batman tells Oracle to get an ambulance. The man in the claws tells Batman that he wants Batman to watch him kill this man. And we learn he's killed others for Batman. The killer says, he's not worthy of your mercy. Don't make the same mistake as your father, Bruce. So that took place 3 weeks from now, in air quotes. And then we flash back to a few decades in the past. We are at a Gotham hospital with Thomas Wayne, Dr. Thomas Wayne, and he's told about a couple that are in a bad car accident. But as part of that, he learns that the woman is pregnant and clearly a victim of domestic abuse. Her facial injuries were beyond that of the car accident. Dr. Wayne goes into 9 hours of emergency surgery and saves the husband from dying, which upsets the wife, who has since given birth. She's mad at Dr. Wayne because he saved this monster of a husband and insists that her newborn child cannot be raised by him and wants to put it up for adoption. Enter Martha Wayne. With all of her adoption and protective services work, she insists on helping the mother and child from escaping her husband. We move to a scene in Wayne Manor where Bruce, hiding atop the stairs, overhears his parents talking about the day's events and questions his father on why he'd save such a horrible man. And then we get into this sort of Hippocratic oath thing where a doctor kind of has to save his patients regardless of their deeds. Then we move back to the present. Batman's on patrol investigating a string of murders. Then Batman hears a gunfire, a burglary gone bad. A teenager shot a storekeeper, but he thought that the safety was on. Batman crashed through the window. The kid runs. Batman gives chase, but there's someone with talons lurking in the shadows. Batman tracks the kid to a sewer pipe or a sewer location, only to find him dead. Batman beats himself up for being aged and too slow to keep up with the kid. Then we move to a scene where Bruce is attending a celebration of this new biotech company run by a Scarlet Martha Scott, who we immediately presume is the baby that was born to the battered woman that Bruce's mother helped save, probably 20 some odd years earlier. She has developed an anti-aging serum in her biotech company, and she encourages Bruce to utilize it. He looks like he's considering it, feeling that he has lost a step recently. Our final scene is back in the past with Dr. Thomas Wayne at the hospital. This time we learn that a patient he recently saved with his surgical skills wants to leave the hospital prematurely. Dr. Wayne concludes he can't force the patient to stay. And we also learn that that patient is Joe Chill. The end. What'd you think, Bill? Did it live up to the hype I was putting into it because it was a Tom Taylor book?
Oh, absolutely. I really enjoyed it. Before we get too far, let's talk about this cover. We get a new Batman and Detective Comics symbol on top, and just Mikel Janin art here, and I really enjoyed this cover.
Yeah. You pointed out in the last episode that I wouldn't even know if I would have picked up on this whole white theme that they're going with.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's really striking. I guess he's is he gliding or soaring, I guess? But he looks cool.
Something like that.
Yeah, he looks cool. Yeah. So we can get into the book. I mean, this didn't disappoint right out of the gate. I'm super pumped about where this is going in this whole Thomas Wayne flashback piece. And the fact that we learn right away that this guy who's taking out folks knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne and knows history about his father saving lives and probably saving any life. What do you think of this first flash forward scene?
I really liked it. There's one particular point that I don't like because I see it as a trope that keeps happening.
Okay.
Is the secret identity thing.
Oh, yeah.
People keep these villains know who Bruce is and this sort of thing. But I'm very intrigued who this person is. And I say a person because we don't really get much of a body. We get a hand.
Yeah.
So we don't know if this is a man or a woman, or we just don't know. But, he has this dying person here in the chair.
Right.
And they say it's a gift for you, his last moments. Now, reading this whole issue and getting to the end, it makes you think that you know who this is.
Oh, you could save that speculation for me in a little bit here. I don't have a clue just yet, but maybe it's obvious.
Do you think it's Joe Chill? Is that a possibility?
I guess it's a possibility. He'd be pretty old now, wouldn't he? But I guess
Yeah, I would think so.
it's a possibility. But yeah, I don't know.
Or
Yet.
is it somebody else, because we're getting these flashbacks with his father, which I really enjoyed. And you get a sense of Bruce has this implanted from his father, this, how life is precious, how every life is precious, how his code began. This is the beginning of his code. And I really like seeing that. And I liked how it was portrayed in the flashback. The old man that's working for the doctor says, they were in a car crash. The man's much worse, and the woman, take a look at her. She's been beaten. You should not worry about saving the man and just take care of the woman. And he says, I can't do that. He said, I made an oath, which Bruce says in here. He says in here he didn't take the same oath, but he believes that's what he believes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because it's not a small thing that we are learning, I guess retroactively, almost 90 years later, that part of Batman's no killing ethos or whatever mantra motto comes from his father, which I like that linkage. I like it. It makes sense because kids are highly impressionable from their parents, and especially parents like these, which are great parents, great upstanding citizens, and all that stuff. So, and I like the way that the flashbacks kind of have a sepia tone, just to make it look. It's not drawn necessarily old. I mean, yes, it's you can tell it's in a different time period, but there's a different tone to the art, which makes you immediately feel like this is a different.
It's definitely brighter.
Time, yeah, it's cool, and no, and then I really liked it. I really liked these flashback scenes with Thomas, and then Alfred. It's pretty cool because like Martha kind of tells Alfred, like, look, he's getting older now. You don't have to not sleep just because Bruce isn't sleeping. I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
And the artwork in here, I just put one of the panels up here. It's almost a 3/4 of the page panel with Batman swinging with the Gotham City in the background lit up in the dark, and his costumes being lit up by all the lights in the city. I really enjoyed this art a lot, especially this particular panel.
Yeah, it's great. He's got a very determined look. And it's consistent with other themes of him. I think he's feeling like he's losing a step, and so there's already murders being happened, and he looks pissed at himself in some ways that he
absolutely
hasn't solved this yet. Yeah, I like it. It's very cool. And
yes,
and this scene, the scene with the kid, the teenager who shoots the shopkeeper or whatever, the expression on his face right from the first panel is that even though you see the smoke coming from the barrel, that he didn't mean to do it.
No, absolutely. You can see, the shock. He sees Batman for the first time, and the artwork shows the shock in the kid's face, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he calls an ambulance, too. It's really cool. And then that panel with Batman crashing through the glass. I mean, I'm not an artist, but that's got to be a tough draw. It looks great.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It looks so realistic. I know. Yeah, all those pieces of glass and everything.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So we get a little bit about this killer, the serial killer that's, killing almost like people that he's been after, but killing them because he describes that the defensive, there's no defensive, so they're not fighting back. There's no defensive wounds, but they're killing them without a lot of pain, which I don't, it's like a killer, I don't know. I'm not saying the killer has remorse or anything, but the killer is like taking these people out without, except for the first one in the first page there, it looks like that dude might have been in some pain, but...
Which hasn't happened yet. Remember, that's 3 weeks from
No.
now. But yeah, that's interesting observation. That I wonder if there's a medical connection there, like mercy killing kind of a thing, or something weird. But there's one little thing that there's a bit of like to be continued on Batman smelling white musk.
Yeah,
and then Oracle, who's talking to him, Oracle's over her headset, whatever. She repeats him, and he goes, "Don't worry." It's like so he moves past it. So, and then there's some smell that is triggering a memory for Batman that isn't resolved in this issue, but I'm sure it's going to come back. Right? Or did it?
I would assume it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? The one thing I got to just this thing, and then this moves it to this event with what's her name? Scarlet Martha Scott,
yes,
the biotech genius or whatever. The pacing of Tom Taylor's books is so cool to me. Like it just like we move from one scene to the next, and it's engaging right when they cut scenes to the next scene. I don't know if I'm being clear what I'm saying, but like
I understand the pacing's very well done.
Yeah, it's really well done. And then he doesn't like play the guessing game with us. Right out of the gate, it says, "Hello, Scarlet Martha Scott," and we're like, okay, just 6 pages ago, whatever. This whole thing about the kid, the baby that was born, and Tom Taylor's just basically just saying, "This is her." Like, I'm not going to play games here. This is her, right? Is that how you felt? Like,
oh yeah, I felt like that's who it was because
this is her, and she's obviously got a special affinity for the Waynes, for what they did for her, and this whole thing about I didn't get into my summary, but there's this panel of this. They're portrayed as like rich people. Drug or this procedure that they go through, this transfusion, whatever you want to call it, because they kind of hooked up. It's basically implying that this stuff costs a ton to produce, so only the rich will probably be able to afford it. And that's similar to some technologies, and we've heard about that in the past. That cryogenics is very expensive or whatever else. But then Bruce observes that these two high society people not only look like they haven't aged, they actually look younger than the last time he saw them.
Right. Yes, he did mention that.
And then, that juxtaposed against Bruce feeling like he's lost a step. He goes to the thing of how he mentions that he's been tempted in the past to have magic or other things, Green Lantern rings, whatever, to make him younger or whatever. But now he's kind of like justifying maybe he will do it because it is scientific.
Right. And that's that panel that I brought up there, that he's looking at this and thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
The way that Taylor kind of writes the thought balloons is Bruce is trying to convince himself that maybe he can do this. That's how I read it. Like,
yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like, it's making him think, because he couldn't save the kid who was in the tunnel because he was faster, and they said he was carrying 50 pounds of Kevlar, and he's had more knee surgeries than you can count, and that sort of thing, and that he's getting older. One thing I want to point out here in this conversation with Scarlett here.
Yeah.
Scarlett says the reason why she's selecting, a few of these rich and powerful people is because some lives are worth more than others. And I don't know if that's a clue of maybe she's behind all these killings. It just made me think a little bit because Bruce even says there's no part of me that believes that. And then she has this, I don't know, do you think this is really going to help this de-aging or whatever healing potion or whatever you want to call it? Do you think he's going to actually take this?
Well, before we get to that, I think you're right. I think you're right. There's layers this page has a lot of layers to it. First of all, I mean, this chick's gorgeous. She's got amazing purple hair, which I find funny and cool at the same time. But she's saying that there's some lives that are worth more than others. And that gets into this whole Thomas Wayne and her father thing that, she was raised by her mother. Obviously, that Martha Wayne set them up or whatever. We don't know what their life was like, but we could assume that she was raised well, went to good schools, but her mother probably told her about this awful husband, father that the Waynes saved them from. And so that's like right there. That life is her own father is worth less than others because of what he did to her mom. So she's grown up with a mentality that some lives are worth more than others from her own mom's experience.
Okay, let me just add on to that real quick.
Yeah.
Here at the beginning scene with the villain with the clawy hands, they say, "Don't make the same mistake as your father, Bruce."
Which the mistake could be not letting her father die. Could be, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Right.
Yeah, could be.
If that's who it is, I mean, this is just a guess.
It could be. I'm not ready to think it's her yet. Only because, like, it wouldn't be explained. Like, well, why did she or kill the shopkeeper killer? I don't know. I mean, but I see it. I'm open to the possibility that this is her, but I don't know. We'll see. I like it though. Very cool. But I like this scene a lot. And then we go back and past, and it's only a couple pages, but at first, so we go back into the past, and there's this bandaged guy who wants to leave the hospital. You find out that Thomas Wayne had performed probably life-saving surgery on him, but the guy still needs to recover. We find out that he's based on the medical chart and everything else, that he's Joe Chill. And so that's an immediate gut punch, because obviously we all know that sometime after this, that very guy, Joe Chill, kills him and his wife, which creates the whole Batman story, which is another layer of, now we have two people, right, that Thomas Wayne saves that are bad, like really bad guys. And one of
is it two people, or do you think it's the same?
It's a good question.
Well, the only thing that I noticed is, the guy basically has bandages on his head.
Yeah. When I first read it, I thought that maybe it is her father, that Joe Chill is her father. And then I thought maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I think that's still unresolved.
Well, I sort of had the same feeling that this was a different person. And
yeah. Because I almost feel like they would have told us that, but maybe not. But anyway, Did not disappoint. I don't want to get my hopes up that this is going to be as amazing as 5 years of Nightwing with Tom Taylor, but I'm already feeling good.
I feel good too. I was.
Yeah.
I had high expectations. I'll be honest.
I had high expectations, and they were met.
So there you
Cross
go.
fingers. I'm stoked about it. This will be a comic that I'll be like, when is it coming out? I got to read it. I can't wait till it comes out. You know?
Yeah, I agree. It's should be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead, and we're going to move on to Nightwing.
Nightwing.
119.
Tom Taylor just left that book. We got a new writer.
Yep. So your writer is Dan Walters, artist Dexter Soy, colors Veronica Gandini, letterer Wes Abbott, cover Dexter Soy, editor Jessica Barbie, group editor Rob Levin, and we get a cover here. We have Nightwing throwing his little stick, escrow sticks, or whatever you want to call them. And I really enjoyed this cover too. I like seeing the motion of the stick. You know, it's kind of blurry, that sort of thing. What did you think of this cover?
You mean the excrement sticks? No, that's not what they're called. I think they're called the Eskrima.
Okay, well, you know I can't. Sean Ross tells me all the time I can't pronounce stuff.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, kind of like the God, what was it? The Batman cover or the movement of the stick is super cool. Cool cover, very cool. He's drawn.
Yeah,
great. He's super buff and fit like he is. It's a great. It looks cool. And you know what's funny? Before we get into the book, it's like I'm just going to say that because Tom Taylor left this book, and you know when it happens sometimes when some great writer leaves a book, you got to kind of like lower your expectations because you know it's like Jeff Johns leaving a book. Who writes it next? It's like anyway. So I'm going into this with low expectations, and I'll leave it there for now. So you could do the summary.
Okay, our issue begins with a masked villain telling Dick Grayson's story using marionettes. The heads of the Bloodhaven's leading crime gangs meet to discuss a truce and a beneficial arrangement. Nightwing crashes the meeting as a bomb goes off, kills all the gang leaders as Nightwing escapes the explosion. Dick visits his sister, Mayor Melinda Grayson, to discuss the bombing. Dick interrupts a meeting between the mayor and Olivia Pierce, head of Spirit Solutions and weapons manufacture. Melinda explains to Dick she's accepted an offer to upgrade her police force with Spirit gear to combat the rising crime wave. That night, Nightwing spreads the word that the leaderless gangs do not have free license to spread chaos throughout the city. Instead, he offers a settlement to settle disputes if the gang chooses to keep their respective territories. Dick decides to visit Spirit Solutions facility. Suddenly, he's attacked by a security drone, and the issue ends with Nightwing being observed by Olivia Pierce and the leader of Cirque du Sin from the beginning of the issue. So we get a pretty good, I don't know, I really enjoyed this, actually. I know it seems pretty similar to a few of the other books, meaning, and let me just explain that real quick. You know, detective, we get a villain at the very beginning. You know, Batman and Robin, we get a villain at the very beginning. And this is sort of the same way. I mean, it's a little different, but I thought this was a good jumping on point, and I liked how it started here.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why I said what I said before you did the summary is that I had low expectations because of what I just it's hard to follow up a run like Tom Taylor's run.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I love this book so far. Had some cool, excellent art. The story was really good. The dialogue was great, and there was interesting pieces about this new villain guy. But it's kind of abstract in that he's kind of narrating, kind of not at the beginning, and then it's kind of like it's almost like in his head, and then when we get to the page with the credits, on with the show and all that, where the gang guys or leaders are meeting, he's kind of like pulling back like a curtain almost to the scene, which I thought was really kind of neat.
And it's called Curtains Up, so
yeah.
No, that was kind of cool. And then we get that scene with, we meet all these gang leaders in Bloodhaven, and there's some characters. I mean, I don't know about you. This character, they look like bears or whatever, the teddies.
Yeah, Mama Bere.
It's kind of goofy and silly, but it sort of fits. I mean, it doesn't, it's not so corny that I'm like, okay, that's just too weird. It seems kind of weird, but, and you get other creatures or aliens that split acid, and then you got Boss Blungin, the Clean Cut Crew, and then the Blockbuster Gang, of course.
No, I was kind of tripping on it a little bit. Like I go, this is this Mama Bere with this, she's got a voluptuous body with this silly, like, bear head on her. I guess it's a mask. I hope.
Yeah, it's almost like Five Nights at Freddy kind of thing. That game and movie. Yeah, that's what it reminded me a little bit of. But it's just on her head because that's definitely not a stuffed animal body. So.
And I thought it was cool that they're talking about dividing up different rackets of crime around the town, so they're not bumping, so they're not conflicting with each other. You got this big plan, and then Nightwing shows up, and that scene where he is like in the rafters.
Oh yeah,
it's so Nightwing look, so cool looking. And then when he throws that stick, just like on the cutter, kind of. It looks like a work like he's almost like dancing in the sense that like it's a work of he's just got flair, like it looks so cool. Like
it's just like his acrobatic act. He's hanging upside down, he jumps, crashes through the table, and just goes to town. It's like, and he uses the table to kind of block some gunfire. The panels are very well done. The action is very well done here.
Yeah, so when this bomb goes off, then we get back to this sort of like V for Vendetta kind of masked guy that we were talking about earlier. Nightwing's behind a tipped over table, and I guess that's how he gets ejected and out of the building with the bomb's explosive, and that's how he survives. At first I was like, how did he survive and nobody else did? It's because he was behind that table.
Or didn't he kind of get a look at it? Is it under the table? Is it attached to the table underneath? Is that how?
Well, it looks like he's looking at it from peering around the table, but whatever. I think that's the only explanation for how he survived.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great start to the book. No meandering stuff, like right out of the gate. Action is pretty cool.
Yeah, and you get this continued relationship, which I really enjoyed from Tom Taylor's run with Barbara Gordon and Dick, and it continues here.
Love it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I wanted to see that continue because it really was enjoyable in the previous run.
Yeah, and also with his half sister, the mayor. Also, so sometimes our writers want to make a hard turn when they take over a book, and sometimes I find like that those hard turns are like way too hard sometimes, and so that's just me. Like I like this. I like him. He's going to make this book his own, but he's going to honor what Taylor did, and you feel it in this book, you know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest thing is that he's honoring some of the big, story takes. Yeah, so far from the previous run, I think the mayor is one. I really like that relationship, and you got to know her and her background, and
one
we
thing
get it.
I'm sorry. One thing that I was reading. I read the whole run.
Right.
One thing that I think was a change for me, unless I'm just asleep at the wheel here, is I didn't know crime was that bad in Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Was that the sense you got from the previous? I don't know.
I don't know if I noticed that previously, because you have the Titans in town, the Titans Towers in Bloodhaven now.
Right.
I don't know if I got that, but it's possible. I mean, I'm.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't. I'm not going to make a big thing about it. You got if Bloodhaven's like crime free, what do superheroes have to do?
Right, they wouldn't have a job; they'd be bored.
Yeah, but I like the dialogue with Dick and his sister. No, I don't have much other to comment on.
Well, and then we get this new, introduction to Olivia Pierce, the Spirit Solutions. She's head of this company, and she's going to supply the Bloodhaven PD with weapons, all these new weapons. And the way she explains it, she says, there's the Justice League watchtower full of godlike beings looming over us in space.
Yeah.
And the Titans are right here in Bloodhaven. And she said, that's why we were relocated here.
Did she go to the Amanda Waller School of Haven?
I don't know.
But,
yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know how you build a business around making weapons to take down superheroes, but I'm going to go with it. I mean,
and they're showing a couple of these weapons on this blueprint, Dick is looking at, and I don't even know what that is. Almost looks like a cannon you put on top of a vehicle or something.
It looks like an apocalyptic.
Right.
Yeah, from Apocalypse. But anyway, and then Dick has a great idea, right? Like he gets he tells these gangs who are now at each other's throats because
right. It's a big old gang war
that he's got to hey, look, this is what I need you to do. And you to just chill out for a minute because you're all going to end up getting hurt or killed. And let me figure this out, kind of thing. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a different take. I mean,
yeah.
Barbara Gordon even says, Batman would just
knock their skulls in or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he gives them this little beeper or whatever. If somebody comes into your territory, just click this. And then I was talking about these lizard dudes that are actually spewing acid.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fun. The aliens are walking around Bloodhaven, and they are in a gang. Okay. All right. Is that what they are? Are they aliens?
I don't know what they are. Mutants.
Mutants or aliens or something.
Yeah. Nightwing says, Bloodhaven is Nightwing's town, and tonight I'm putting my foot down. You don't want it to be on your neck.
Right. Yeah, and then, he infiltrates this, by the way, Spheric Solutions.
Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I?
Oh, okay. I think he said Spirit.
Something.
Spirit.
Yeah, I said
anyway,
something.
So he infiltrates that place, right? and then immediately gets attacked by some, giant robot kind of thing.
With lasers. It's right out of Star Wars, the red lasers.
Yeah, he's doing flips to avoid the beams and everything, and then you find out they're all being observed by this guy with this mask with the, I don't know, penguin type nose, and he's hanging out with this
Olivia.
And she's clearly got a beef with Nightwing or superhero.
And it's something about this symbol on his chest. Because this dude says, what does a bird in the circus tent mean? And I'm wondering if this villain somehow, we're going to see a little bit of flashback in future issues, and somehow it's related to his time in the circus.
Yeah, more people who apparently know who these guys are in their real
Right.
life.
We have 2 issues in a row where they know their secret identities.
Yeah, was he there? Was he in on the murders of the Grayson parents? Because he knows all.
Well, that would change some things. That would change some continuity.
Well, I'm not saying he did it, but he
Right. I understand.
he knows about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something. But yeah, so there's a few question marks on this, but I really liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
And I'm glad. I'm relieved. I'm relieved that this isn't going to take some weird turn. This isn't a whole new take on what Tom Taylor's been
Nightwing. Yeah,
5 years or whatever it's been. I'm pleased. I'm pleased, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
All right, then. So we are moving into a new. What do you call it? A launching point? What is the term you use?
Jumping on point.
Jumping on point.
That's what the all in is supposed to be, is jumping on point for all these books. And, Catwoman is not a book that I've really covered all that much. So I found it kind of interesting. We had a jumping on point, and we're going to talk about so.
Yeah, Gotham Currents. She operates in Gotham, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
It's totally appropriate. So yeah, if you want to throw up the cover here, we can talk about the cover in a second. We got Catwoman 69. No Further Bets, Part 1. Script Torin Gronbeck. Art Fabiana Mascolo. Colors Patricio Del Peche, and letters Steve Wants. So, our issue starts with Selina Kyle, the infamous Catwoman, sleeping on a folding chair in a dingy apartment, not her normal digs. She wakes up to a notification on her phone, a news story about the death of an Evie Hall. But that's peculiar because that is one of the aliases that she used in the distant past. And the picture is of a blonde woman and not her. Her left arm is bandaged and she's wearing a fancy dress. Another news headline is that Selina Kyle is wanted as a suspect in a connection to a shooting at a fundraiser where 7 died. Well, then we flash back to the previous night to said fundraiser. Wearing that same evening gown, she's looking gorgeous. She's flirting with a rich guy in a tux who's probably her mark. She's working him, flirting with him. Then he gets shot through the head, inches away from her own head. Then a bullet grazes her upper right arm. Then she bolts from the fundraiser. She suspects the bullets were meant for her. She heads back to her apartment only to find it being surveilled. And then we move back to the present in what seems to be where she was before, that dingy place I said, probably a safe house across from her apartment. She has a police scanner and hears that the police are talking about tracking her. She puts on her leotard, her Catwoman costume, and heads into the night. She observes the cops approaching a car, thinking that she's in it. Then suddenly the window opens and a number of officers are shot. She goes into her apartment to find a guy going through her stuff. They get into a big fight. He gets a few good licks in until she smashes him over the head with her favorite lamp. Then looking out the window, she sees the bat signal in the sky and she mutters, "Great, just what I need." Disguised as a nurse heading to work, she charters a bus to take her out of Gotham. After some time, she heads to a used car lot and buys a cheap sedan. And then we find her a couple days later in Berlin. But a whiz kid behind a computer also knows she's in Berlin using facial recognition software. To be continued. So, Bill, before we get into the book, I guess, what'd you think of this all-in jumping on point cover?
I thought this one was, well, it's an eye catcher, that's for sure.
It is an eye catcher, yeah.
Yeah, I knew a sort of, you can't really tell. It isn't kind of a new costume here.
Yeah.
I think when we get into the book and there's a page in there where you can see the costume a little better. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. You know, it has those leg straps and that sort of thing. It's sort of like a jacket. I know you like these little jackets like on Power Girl and that sort of thing. What do you think of this jacket?
On the cover, yeah, like you said, it's not as articulated as in the book, but speaking of Power Girl, it's got sort of this vacant spot at the top of her chest, which is very Power Girl-esque. The other thing about this cover, and maybe all of them have it, and I just didn't notice it, the movement of her whip is cool, and yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool.
And it sort of has a, like her hand swipe down through it in the background, almost like a symbol or sort of thing.
Like a cat scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So beyond that, the book itself, what'd you think of? I mean, are you glad we're reading it, or?
I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to, because I really haven't gotten into many Catwoman's runs as of recently. It's been like years and years and years since I've really read it regularly. And this was kind of intriguing because it seemed to be kind of a different take. You know, it's sort of like a spy type of thing where somebody's trying to kill her, and some old identities they're taking out to show, we're after your old crew, whatever that means. So it definitely feels like a jumping on point. I do have to say that.
I agree. Like you, I didn't read this run. I mean, this run. You know, they're up to 69 issues now, right? So I haven't been reading it either. I think I read some at the beginning, and it didn't grab me. And so I just didn't go back to it. But the jumping on point, you clearly don't have to know at least what happened in issue 68, 67, 66. It seems like this could be a number one. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it definitely could be another one. And if you recall Gotham War, you know, she come out of Gotham War where she has these powers of some sort. And I know the run before this had her having 9 lives or something like that. Oh, really? So I didn't read it. I don't know too much about it, but it doesn't feel like that is continuing here.
You know what? I'm glad you said what you just said about this sort of having a spy feel, because I hadn't thought of that when I read it, but now that you say it, it does, and I kind of dig it. I kind of the way it's the way the panels are laid out and some of the surveillance stuff, the her looking at her phone and seeing news articles and stuff. It does have sort of a cool spy feel.
Like, there's a secret history to her. And I mean, it might be a known history to Catwoman. I just don't know enough about her series to know if that is a thing. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting. And, so we get a new Catwoman suit out of this as we sit on the cover. And here's the full page panel of that.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with the shoulders.
Yeah. It's like a little jacket that has long sleeves, but it only covers the sleeves and her shoulders. But it's almost attached to her cowl, and the cowl wraps around her neck.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm kind of a sucker for the
traditional.
The black leather zip up one, the zipper all the way to the top, and sort of that turtleneck look she has. That's my favorite one of all time.
I've always liked the old school one where she has the cape. I enjoyed that a lot.
Okay, fair enough. Well, she has something weird going on in the Batman run during Absolute Power. This is a departure from that. But
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of with that little, what is that, little bag or whatever strapped to her leg. What is that, like a compartment?
Like a compartment or something? Well, is that for your cell phone? Does she? Yeah. She's texting all the time, and she needs a place to put her phone and grab it because there doesn't look like there's too many compartments in that suit there.
If it's for her cell phone, that's very practical. Like, because we always got to wonder where these superheroes are keeping stuff in their spandex. This explains that probably, but there's a cool vibe to this, the way that it's drawn and the way the panels are kind of not always the same shape. I'm glad it's good because maybe we would have not just done it. I mean, maybe we would have decided beforehand. One of us would have thrown up a flag and said, on the field and say, no, we're not doing this book.
Right, because we're in the middle of a story or something like that. But knowing that it's a jumping on point, that kind of makes it a little bit easier to jump on it, or at least give it a try,
Well, did you get, I mentioned it in the last episode, because there was in Batman and Robin, there was these eco-terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about it, and we haven't talked about it in real life. Did you read Poison Ivy on her?
I did not.
There was a jumping on point that didn't grab me there, and if I had loved it, I could have made the justification that because it's Bat Family stuff that we should be doing it.
Yeah.
But this is intriguing, and there's something it reminds me of. Was it Catwoman in Rome, or was it Tim Sale or from like 25 years ago? It has a cool feel that reminds me of some other stuff from the past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to explore it too much, but the book's good. And one question though, the guy at the computer who does the facial recognition, do you think he's with law enforcement, or do you think?
I don't think so. I think he's trying to have her killed, but these people that are coming after her don't know that she's Catwoman, because there's that scene where Catwoman comes up behind the guy and he's like, he doesn't recognize that it's Selena Kyle.
Yeah, he's looking for Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
And when Catwoman shows up, he doesn't put two and two together. Clearly. That or he doesn't know. He just doesn't know.
Because he says the kitten killer, the tabby assistant.
Yeah.
That's the problem with open contracts. Brings out the amateurs.
Yeah, so why somebody's trying to kill Selena Kyle, not Catwoman.
Right.
Which is cool because you and I are both getting a little concerned with how many people know all these people's secret identities.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe that will be an asset for her in the future issues that nobody knows that she's Catwoman. That might be refreshing.
Yeah. There's I think this particular book has more questions, like intriguing questions that you want to find out. I think it does a good job of, having these questions, gives you enough of the story to get you in the first issue, but leaves you hanging with, hey, I'd like to know why these people are trying to kill her. What's up with Catwoman and these old identities and an old crew that she supposedly have. So I'm in for the next issue. So
I have one last comment, because that could have been a great way to end this, but I am too, is I like the art in that, this is all the same artist, but he's doing different styles of art depending on the scene. Sometimes the art is really detailed and the lines are really clear, and then other times it's more muted and watercolory and stuff. It is visually a really intriguing book, so I'm glad we're reading it.
Yeah, especially the scenes in the rain look kind of cool. I like the way the art is done there.
Very cool. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
So very good. We got our second episode live here. We did have a few comments I'll throw up here real quick. First is from Magazines and Monsters. Billy D gives us a shout out. Thanks for checking us out. And then we have somebody that says, Kylie Page, who is my daughter, Kylie, says, I love Batman. So thanks for checking us out.
Cool.
We really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
Well, you got to do what all these YouTubers do, like, share, all that stuff. They practically beg, please like and share my stuff. But it does help the algorithm, though. It gets exposure. So if you like it, please do that.
Yeah, smash the like button, as they say, and subscribe button. Before we head out of here, if you'd like to join the conversation, our email is thepodcast@thebatpod.com. We are on Blue Sky, Threads, and Facebook. Just search The Bat Pod.
Yeah.
So we'll be back here pretty soon with some more Batman goodness. We have a DC show coming up before too long. We're going to do one DC show a month where we cover mostly the team books, JSA, the Justice League Unlimited, the Titans, and that sort of thing. So that's coming up. So thanks again for checking us out. Until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you later.